Hey friends, it's Jo with Relaxed Rhetoric. Today I thought we would have a conversation on CC resources, what you should buy, what you shouldn't buy right off the bat, what are those resources that I think are worth it, and if I were starting foundations again, what would I buy right away, and what maybe you could hold off on. We're probably going to make this a multiple part episodes because there are so many different CC resources. I don't know if you've looked through the catalog recently. It can be overwhelming though when you are a new CC family and there's all these wonderful things on here and you think, what should I buy? What shouldn't I buy? So as a more experienced CC mom, I thought I would come to you and say what I think is worth it and what I don't think is worth it. So right off the bat, the only thing that CC says you absolutely must have is your foundation, and this is for foundations, is your foundations guide. This guy has been through a lot. You can see they are actually coming out with a new edition, my director was telling me. So next year, I think that they're just gonna have a cycle 3 available for those families that are just joining this year, like a cycle 3 of the new foundations guide. So I don't know if I would buy the entire foundations guide if I were brand new to CC, because it's going to be outdated the following year. So foundations guide and a tin whistle. If you are tutoring, you too will need a tin whistle. As a tutor, I did not realize until I got to the tin whistle portion of it, well goodness, I'm going to need one as well. So I had to go buy one off of Amazon. They're about the same price as a CC website though, so I would probably just buy it when I was buying my foundations guide. So CC is really clear, like that's all you really have to buy. And honestly, there are a lot of resources on CC Connected that are included with your price for CC and are well worth it. And you can get on there. There's all kinds of, like if you get onto the forums, there are some wonderful moms on there, have some wonderful things on there. I have benefited a lot from that. I'm specifically going to go over the things that I would buy if I had to do it over again. But I did my first year only buying the foundations guide and the tin whistle because I wasn't sure I was going to stick with it. That being said, you all know that I love read alouds, and something that is near and dear to my heart is Story of the World. I came across this before I even started CC. It used to be recommended reading on the CC and they used to sell them in the bookstore. I looked today and I noticed that they are no longer selling them. Maybe I didn't look in the right spot, but I didn't see them as recommended reading for foundations anymore, which kind of breaks my heart because I love these. I started these when my oldest was just starting kindergarten. It breaks history up into small, digestible little chapters that are very engaging. So it starts at the beginning of the ages, ancient times, goes all the way through, goes to the Persian Gulf War. It does mention September 11th, but Susan Wise Bauer, the author, does mention that she doesn't go into depth with it because she didn't know how at that point how it was going to affect history. So she mentions it, but she does not go into it. But I have always loved these. I usually will not do these in the morning when I do my other read aloud. I normally would do these during lunchtime as the kids are eating their lunch and they're kind of quiet and eating. That's when I would break this out. And they're short chapters and it just spurs a lot of really good conversation with them. There are some workbooks that go with them. I have never done them, but I really like Susan Wise Bauer, so I'm sure they're good. The other thing that you can do is get on CC Connected, and in the forums, they have weeks or chapters that match up with the weeks of history that you're studying in CC. So it will say go over chapter 23 in volume 4. And so we would start with that. A lot of times it was so engaging, we would kind of keep going on your own. There are 4 volumes of this, and I have them all. So I can't recommend Story of the World more than that. And The second thing that I was going to recommend, if you can afford it, is the maps. And like I said, we did not have these maps the first year, but I love the Trivium tables. It is harder. The maps are all in your foundations guide. I am going to say it's a lot harder for the kids to see the lines on it, and the bigger maps are better. But you can see, like, this is all of Europe from this last cycle. Europe there, it has the answers on it, but there's also a page that is not labeled. So you can use those for check-offs, like parent check-offs. But you can see this one isn't labeled, but it matches up with what you are working on in school. So I couldn't recommend these more too. I really like these. Again, it's possible to make it work without having the Trivium tables. I also have the big placemats. I use those for the states. So cycle 3, I just happen to get the big placemats then. I like those too. They are bulkier if you're going to store them for multiple years. So just keep that in mind. The last thing that I was going to mention today is the flashcards. These flashcards are really good, especially when you're talking about the multiplication and the addition, mainly because they go up to 15. It is hard to find flashcards that go through your 15 times tables and the addition of up to 15. I have found that they're worth it. The other thing that I would do, I pieced them together as they came out. It would have been a lot cheaper for me to just go ahead and buy the pack. If you know that you're going to stick with CC, you've been in it for at least a year or so and you've got a good feel for things, I would just go ahead and buy the whole pack. They do come out with different ones. I think that they came out with a new one this year, so I'm going to have to add that to mine. But it is cheaper to go ahead and do that. But I love these flashcards. These are the exponents. My kids in foundations and essentials haven't gotten into all of the upper level ones, but the addition, subtraction, and the multiplication are really used. And when you're talking about testing out for Memory Master, once they are past the age of 10, they are no longer able to sing the times tables. They need to, that's when they will go to flashcards. So you as the tutor or the parent or both will do the flashcards with them. And then you do one side, then flip them over and do the other side. So they are obviously very handy for that. Also, I have found that these crayon boxes, I think I got these at Walmart, work perfectly to hold flashcards in because the boxes will inevitably tear up. I have found that these are super helpful. Those are the 3 things that I would choose. I have Story of the World linked below. I'm also going to try and link the different flashcards and the Trivium table for cycle 3 in the box below as well, just to help you find it. Until next time, friends.